All right, let's dive into this V75 Östersund. Snow's falling, December's here, and we're all hoping for some winning tickets, right? You guys sent in some awesome sources, expert analyses, some heated debates from seasoned bettors, and honestly, it looks like a wild one, full of potential upsets.
Yeah, and what really jumps out is those mandatory shoes in December up in Östersund.
That's
Totally changes the game because who knows how it'll affect each horse.
totally. Past performance isn't everything anymore. So first up, V75 1, 2,640 meters volt start. You've got Young Jack, driven by Daniel Vagerston. Seems like the favorite. Sources are pretty high on him, especially with that prime starting spot on the front volt.
Yeah, young Jack, he could definitely take it, but that distance, that's a long one. Could shake things up. Plus the whole shoes thing, always a question mark.
Right, and one source even mentioned, he's had starting issues in the past, though apparently he's gotten better lately, so maybe Young Jack's not such a sure thing after all.
Worth spreading those bets for sure. And speaking of spreading bets, for the adventurous types out there, Money Smile, starting 40 meters back, could be a fun one. Sources say he's great in the cold, which up in Östersund could be a real advantage. But they also say the start is crucial for this one.
Okay, on to a V75 2, 1,640 meters auto start. We've got Lindis Musclemania, another Wedgerston horse, as the favorite. Known for quick starts, probably going to take the lead early. Banker material, maybe?
Lindis Musclemania, yeah, strong contender. But don't forget, he was out for a whole year. Is he really back in top form? Plus, some aggressive drivers in this race, they might challenge him for that lead.
Good point. And here's where things get interesting. One source mentions Cool Trick, driven by Ove Lindevist. He's a new acquisition, just switched stables. Sometimes, debut wins with new trainers. That can be a sign, a boost in performance. Sneaky contender, maybe? What do you think? Could this new environment give him what he needs?
Could be a change of scenery, new training, you never know.
Yep.
Interesting to see how he does in this new setup.
Okay, V75 3, 240 meters, volt start, call blood slop, as they say. The cold blood trotters, sources are buzzing about this one. Gould Hector with Matsy Juice, he's the big favorite, win streak and all that. But there's a catch, isn't there?
Oh, yeah. Gold Hector, he's starting way back on the second volt. Not ideal. Gonna have to weave through traffic, waste energy early on.
And then there's the whole shoe thing again. One source actually wondered if Gould Hector even performs well with shoes. Could be a weakness, right?
Absolutely. Opens the door for an upset. And the sources are really into Dawn Clara, a mare, racing against the boys in this one.
Whoa, mare versus the boys, that's a story.
She's got a great starting position on the front volt, and she's known to exceed expectations. Plus, get this, she beat Gould Hector before, so if you want an upset, Dawn Clara might be your girl.
All right, V75-4, a 2640-meter auto start. Two horses are catching everyone's eye. Pedal to the Metal with Mats Ejus and New Lane, driven by Oscar Kylan Blom. Both fast. Could be a battle for the lead.
For sure. But one source pointed out, Pedal to the Metal's recent wins. They've been against weaker competition. Stepping up in class now might show some cracks.
Plus, first time racing with shoes on the hind legs.
Yeah. Big change that, especially over this long distance, could really affect things.
So maybe a chance for New Lane to shine.
Maybe. Though the source also mentioned a couple long shots with strong local connections. Ganderbrode and Sanjans Cantona, if you're feeling really lucky, could be worth a small bet.
All right, V75-5, time for the big rivalry, Wagerston versus Linderoth.
Always adds to the fun, doesn't it?
Global Escape, driven by Wagerston, he's the favorite here.
And for good reason. This horse has wins against some of the best in his age group. Totally in a different class, I think.
One source even said he's been kept in a lower class on purpose, just setting him up for a V75 domination. But is there anyone who could challenge him?
Well, Pennywise is known as a strong finisher, and he's pulled off some surprise wins before. Could be a good value play if you want to hedge your bets,
Okay, on to V75-6, 1,640 meters, volt start. Devon Stoet series. This one was all about Indiana Downs, but she's been scratched.
Throws everything wide open. Real chance for some upsets here. Sources are all over the place with this one.
So what should we be looking at in this kind of unpredictable race?
I'd say horses with good recent performances, good starting positions on that front volt. And remember, volt starts, the driver's experience matters a lot, T.
Right. Inexperienced drivers,
Yeah.
they can cause false starts, which changes the whole race.
Exactly. One source even said, look at the drivers leading each volt their experience level to see if there might be some chaos at the start.
That's a great tip. So taking all that into account, who are your top picks in this wild card race?
I'm kind of leaning towards I'm the Queen, Bagra Montana. And then there's Grace's Bird. She's got a history of racing against the absolute best in her age group, so that could give her an edge.
And last but not least, V75-7, 2,140 meters, auto start, bronze division. And we've got competitive as the favorite, tough competition all year. But you mentioned there's a bit of a hitch here.
Oh yeah, the mandatory shoes, remember. Competitive, he's known for doing best without shoes. And he has to wear them here. Changes everything, makes it much harder to predict.
So who are the potential upsetters? Who could benefit from competitive's, disadvantage?
Sources are split on this one, but they do mention Express Cash and Invisible Sun, driven by Erjan Kihlstrom. Could be interesting.
Sounds like this last race is going to be a nail-biter, too.
For sure. That's the thing about V75. Even with all the analysis and tips, there are always surprises.
Totally. Well, we've covered a lot, but there's still more to talk about. For those looking for a safer bet, a banker, any horses that really stand out as solid picks.
Lindis Musclemania in V75 too, even though he's been out for a while. That speed, the early lead, it's tempting. Could be a risky banker, but still a banker.
And Global Escape in V75-5. He seems like he's in a league of his own there.
Yeah, Global Escape, he's probably the safest bet for a banker in this whole Omgong. His recent performances, that whole thing about being kept in a lower class, he's looking really good. But again, in V75, nothing's guaranteed.
Right. Always expect the unexpected. So everyone listening, think about your strategy. Play it safe with a strong banker like Global Escape, or spread those bets, chase those screllers. It's up to you.
And remember, the shoes, they change everything. Makes it harder to judge based on past races alone. You might need to look at other things like driver experience, starting positions, even how the horses do on different track surfaces.
Oh, you know what? One source mentioned something interesting about driver behavior in Volt starts. Not about any specific horse, but it could affect a few of these races.
Oh, yeah. Tell me more. That kind of insight can be really valuable for bettors. What did they say?
They said sometimes drivers, especially on those inside tracks in a Volt start, they'll actually try to cause a false start.
Really? Why would they do that?
Well, the idea is if they cause a recall, get everyone lined up again, they might get a better starting position the second time.
Ah, so it's a gamble, but if it works, big advantage.
Exactly. And the source said you can sometimes predict these intentional false starts just by looking at the drivers, how experienced they are. Less experienced, more likely to try that risky move.
Interesting. Shows you it's not just about the horses in V75. It's about the people, too. Drivers, their choices, their strategies, that can change everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that brings us back to you guys listening. You've heard the analysis, the potential upsets, those screllers, thought about your bankers. Now it's time to make your choices. How are you going to approach this Östersund Omgång?
Gonna be bold. Bet against those favorites who might be shaky. Chase those long shots. Go for that big payout. Or play it safe. Stick with the most consistent horses.
It's all up to you. No right or wrong way to play V75. That's the beauty of it. You make a strategy that fits you, your style, your budget.
And don't forget, those shoes, they're a game changer. Makes past performances harder to rely on.
So you got to factor in other things. Driver experience, starting positions, even how the horses do on different surfaces.
You know, as we wrap this up, one last thing I want to mention. Wasn't in your sources directly, but it could give you an edge.
Okay, I am listening. What is it?
Think about the weather on race day. Will it be snowy, slippery, or will the sun come out, make it faster, firmer?
Right, because even with the shoes, that can change how a horse runs.
Exactly. Some horses love that sloppy snow. Others, they need it dry and fast.
So everyone listening, before you lock in those bets, check the forecast for Östersund. That little bit of extra knowledge could be the difference between winning and losing.
Good luck out there. May the odds be in your favor.